Hello and welcome to the first ever Cash vs. Trash. Oh no, it's not Cash vs. Trash. The Chatty Chat Chat video podcast thing.
Yep.
I don't know where to look. This is the first time that we're recording video anything.
Yeah.
Oh no, we did a John Wick 4
TikTok.
I can't see myself, so I don't know. Can you see me?
Kind of.
Am I looking at the camera?
I don't know.
So if you can see me, but you can't see if I'm
I can see you,
looking...
but I can't see where your eyes are looking.
Okay. Hopefully this all comes out at the same time. Like the audio and the video. But at this stage, the episode will at least come out on Sunday.
Yes.
That's all I can tell you. So, if you like this, let us know. I feel very weird being on camera.
Same.
But here we are. And if you want to hear more and see more from us, don't be afraid to like, share, rate, review, subscribe, blah, blah, whatever.
The whole lot.
Yep. We're on TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Facebook, obviously, YouTube. This will be on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're going to get into it now.
Yep.
Anyway, what's up?
Nothing.
Oh, I didn't even introduce us.
Yeah.
This is going so good. I am Rob.
And I am Demi.
Yes, and we are married, and we like to watch movies, and we like to watch TV shows and listen to music, and long walks on the beach.
I do like that.
Yes. In case you're wondering and you don't want to offend her, or you do want to offend her, Demi is pregnant.
Very pregnant.
Yes. How long you got left?
3 months.
Yes. I was right.
Yeah.
That's what I've been telling people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm the father, in case anybody's confused about that. No, I'm not just like, Demi's pregnant. We did it.
We are pregnant. Team effort.
The feminists will come after me. Anyway, let's just move right on. News. Not much. Everything's been delayed.
Yeah.
Everything. So, all Spider-Man into the, Beyond the Spider-Verse. Delayed.
Yep.
It was already delayed, but it's like, I don't think it has a release date now, so that's fun.
Conan must go.
Has it been delayed?
Yeah.
Oh. But that's not a...
There's no date yet.
Oh, okay. Well, he was like all set to bring it out, so...
Yeah.
Surprise. Other movies that I didn't waste time looking into. Mm-hmm. We can talk a little bit about the box office news. So, domestic, as in the US, because that's where everyone watches movies and gets movie info from. What? It's giving me August 1st, 2022. So, I'm having a great time over here. You keep looking at me like I'm a psychopath.
Yeah, that was 2 days ago.
This is the most recent stuff they have. August 1st, 2022 was last year. But August 1st, 2023, that's the earliest I've got. I'll just give the top 5. Barbie, Oppenheimer, Haunted Mansion, Sound of Freedom, and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yep. Makes sense. Haunted Mansion apparently is no good.
Haven't heard of it.
Just like the first one. The Eddie Murphy one that came out a few years back.
Beats me.
Anyway, and Barbie, just on that day, and I think this is just domestic, and it says data as of August 2nd. I don't know how this works. Is 15 million just on that day.
Wow.
Whereas Oppenheimer's at 6.9 million.
So Barbie's doing a lot better.
Well, I mean, Barbie's a lot more commercially viable.
Yeah, true.
It's Barbie.
True.
And you can take kids to go see it. We reviewed Barbenheimer, the Barbenheimer Experience.
Yeah. Check out our episode.
Yep, the movies will blow your socks off. I don't know about the episode. They might put your socks back on and put you to bed. Anyway, Talk to Me. The movie, not you. I don't want to hear what you have to say.
Too bad.
We were very excited to see it because we're just a week behind on everything. Mm-hmm. So a week behind on Mission Impossible, a week behind on Barbenheimer, and we were going to go watch Talk to Me. Lovely Australian movie by the look of it.
Yes.
Terrifying, I hope. And that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I've heard good things.
Just can't find it anywhere because we don't live in one of the capital cities of Australia. So
I thought it wasn't in Australia at all.
No, it is, but it's only in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, those kind of places.
Discrimination.
So we live in central Queensland.
Yeah.
Which we've said before. So the areas we can go to are like Gladstone and Rockhampton.
Yeah.
And then we can go down south to Bundaberg. I didn't really look in Rocky, but nothing came up for it for Queensland, just Brisbane.
I don't think Rocky has a cinema.
Rockhampton has a cinema.
Yeppoon does.
Rockhampton would have a cinema.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
It's a big place.
True.
Yeah. And shit.
Yeah.
Moving on.
So yeah, we can't see that yet anyway.
Yes.
Unless we want to drive 6 hours.
To Brisbane. Which I honestly think I might for this movie. I'm getting there. It looks really good.
It does.
It gives me big Hereditary vibes. And that's the scariest movie I've ever seen. So,
Same.
Alrighty. We're going to move on into the main segment of the show. This is probably going to be a shorter episode than normal because I can see the battery dying on the camera because I didn't plug it in. And that just stresses me out. So, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, so, main segment of the show. And if you can hear the many sounds around here, I am very sorry. We are very sorry. You don't normally apologize for things, but I'm very sorry.
Well, I'm not sorry because I didn't build these houses.
That's fair. But you said we should live here.
Well.
Happy wife, happy life.
And now I'm not happy.
Yeah. Oh, well, you know. Moving on to something a bit lighter. Mm-hmm. And a bit more timeless. Heroes across the decades. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to introduce it.
This was a suggestion from our good friend.
Well, it was inspired by a suggestion. He gave us the seed, and we have planted it.
Yeah.
Yes. We were just going to list some of the most iconic non-superpowered heroes, but we thought instead of doing that, we'll list a few of them and talk about how they've changed over the years.
Yeah, mainly action heroes.
Yeah, pretty much action adventure. There's going to be a lot of white dudes in this, so sorry. This is going to be very iconic character based. So we are going to be talking about actors to an extent, but it's mostly going to be about the whether or not the characters were iconic and what they were like and how that represented the decade that they were in.
Yeah.
And that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, we're going to start off with the 1970s. Mm-hmm. You can tell me if you know the first one.
Dirty Harry.
Yep.
That sounds familiar, but not really.
He's honestly probably I'd say top 5 most famous character from all of these.
Yeah.
He's very iconic. He's the, tell me, do you feel lucky punk? That guy.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. So, he's probably the most iconic 70s. He's not even a hero, but that's the thing. There's protagonists and antagonists, and then people go, well, that's the guy that I root for, so he must be the hero. But Dirty Harry's no hero.
Who played him?
Clint Eastwood.
Okay.
Do you know who Clint Eastwood is?
Yes. What was the movie called?
I'm pretty sure one was just called Dirty Harry.
Okay.
There was 3 of them. But he was also in the I don't know the name of, I can't remember the name of the trilogy, but A Fistful of Dollars and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That he was the man with no name in that. But those movies were more iconic than the character was. Whereas with this, it's all about Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's a detective, I think. It's been a long time since I watched those movies. Like, I was a kid. They were good.
It's been ages.
Yeah. Thanks. So yeah, he was your classic 70s hero, or hero. A morally grey character who was just sort of up against the world, doing the best that they could. Not really like huge on action, just more about like being charismatic and having an impact. And the character led the movie, right? Rocky was the same. Not really like a hero, but like a morally grey. He's more leaning towards like good, but he was just a guy trying to do everything that he could against the world. And then, as we'll talk about when we get into the 80s and stuff, how that changed. James Bond is a big one.
Yeah.
He hasn't changed that much. It more changes actor to actor. But in the 70s, I think, is when he was like at his most famous.
Yeah.
And then it's just been trying to capture the magic again until it got to like Pierce Brosnan was a little bit different, and then in the 90s and early 2000s, and then I'm blanking on his name. Big potato head.
Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig. He has a big...
He should have said incredible eyes.
Oh, of course you'd go for that. He was fully diverged from how Bond was, which we'll get to when we get down to the 2010s. Then you got Ellen Ripley, one of the most iconic action movie heroes of all time. And in the first movie, you don't even know that she's going to be the main character.
Yeah.
From
Alien.
Wow, look at her go. Of course, she'd only know the woman. Yeah, they're going to get you in the comments.
Rocky and James Bond.
Yeah. You only know James Bond because you listen to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend, and Matt Gawley talks about James Bond a lot.
That is not the only reason I watched James Bond, Casino Royale.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right.
What's his number?
007.
Wow. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Ellen Ripley in the first Alien movie, for like the first half of it, is just there.
Yeah.
And then everyone dies, so she's like, I guess I'm the main character now.
Yeah.
It's more of a horror movie, that first one, but then in the 80s, when the second one came out, she was just an action movie hero now, and very different. And I mean, she's not like with the Space Marines in that. She's sort of separate, but she's gung-ho, and she's like, you gotta fucking kill these things, blow them up, exterminate them, and all that kind of thing. And then in the third one, she's just a psychotic, crazy person. And then in the fourth one, it's not even really her.
Yeah.
So we're not going to go into that. But the iconic characterness of her ended with the second movie.
Yeah.
So that was just some from the 70s. Because there were a few, but I was trying to keep this list short. And the 80s is where it really blows up. So the 80s immediately, and this is not... The characters might be involved in supernatural things, like Ellen Ripley from Alien and Aliens and whatever. But there's no characters in this that are supernatural.
Yeah. Unless
I've got something wrong, but I'm pretty sure that none of them are.
Well, we don't see them.
Well, I'm saying there could be stuff that I can't remember, or I'm like, oh, I haven't seen all of that movie, but I'm 99% sure that there's no, like, secret robot men on this. So there's no RoboCop. So no Peter Weller, and no superheroes, so not even Iron Man or Batman. I know that they're just guys.
But they have a big advantage.
Yeah. So 80s, a big one was Dutch from Predator. Mm-hmm. He was... The character might not be the most iconic, but he has a lot of iconic moments and lines, like, get to the chopper, and the handshake that is just one of the ultimate... everlasting memes, where the shaking hand one. He's like, and it's, you don't know what I'm talking about?
No. Maybe if I saw it.
This is my life. This is my life. He's like, Dylan, you son of a bitch. And then and they like tense up, and they got huge arms and biceps.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
And he's stronger than Dylan because he's still out in the field, but Dylan is a desk jockey now. So that's like, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, then Rambo, obviously, who I think the first one was in the 70s, but it wasn't Rambo that was iconic in the 70s movie. It was the movie. But then in First Blood, First Blood Part 2, sorry, because they weren't called Rambo.
Yeah.
The first one was called First Blood, and it was based on a book. It's a very beautiful tale of just sadness. I think one person dies, and it's on accident. Then in the second movie, he comes back and wins Vietnam for America on his own after they lost the war already.
Okay.
So there's this. I'm being dramatic, but that's pretty much what happens. And it's every single movie since then has just copied that. It's just he goes on a war path and he's like, oh, I'm sad, but then he'll kill 1,000 people. Whereas the first movie, it was genuine. And that's how it was in the 80s. Like, and I started with Dutch, but even though Predator is like a subversion of that, where there's his character from Commando, who's pretty much Dutch, just comes in and is just like, and just kills everyone. And then in Predator, they do that. That's like the first half of the movie has nothing to do with the alien, other than a few little spots. And then they kill like 100 people, and then the alien's like, fuck yeah, I'm going to kill these guys. So there's that. And then Rambo is just that. But he's iconic because the first movie's so good. The first movie is like a good 70s movie, a morally grey character. But the character wasn't that iconic. It was just the movie itself. Then I've just written here Chuck Norris. Because he doesn't really have that many iconic characters, but he is an iconic character in his own. He represents the 80s, I feel.
Yeah, everybody knows that name.
Yeah. I think I've got a book up there. You guys can't see it. There's the camera for audio listeners, sorry. This is the world we live in now. I'm pretty sure it's up there. It might be in the filing cabinet somewhere. That is the, like, 1001 or 101, whatever, Chuck Norris jokes.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's great. Like, Chuck Norris sleeps with a pillow under his gun.
That's good.
Yeah. Then we've got Riggs and Murtaugh. Or I don't know how to say it, Murtaugh. But anyway, it's Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. I'm not listing the actors for all of them, but they're from Lethal Weapon. And they were like buddy cop guys. And it was these two iconic, like, insane guys going through the world. And it was just this weird 80s world where nothing really made sense. But it just worked because it was cool dudes doing cool action, just like all of these movies. And if this had been made in the 70s, it would be way more toned down and grim and like all of the really sad stuff that eventually they just give up on in the franchise because there's like 4 of them. It would be like really, that would be what the movie is about, not just them solving crimes. Then Snake Plissken. Now, this is one that I'm not that familiar with, but I don't think that he's like a super soldier, but he's like the best of the best. And he's in Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Haven't seen them. Apparently, they're really good. Got to get around to it. People who really love 80s stuff are probably just screaming right now because they're like, well, there's that one scene where he does that one thing, and that must mean that he's, I don't know. But he looks cool because he's got an eye patch.
That is cool.
Is this just the worst thing ever for you because you have no idea what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so if anyone's noticed that I'm much quieter this episode is because I'm learning at the same time.
You have to look at the camera.
I'm learning at the same time.
This is fun for me. Alrighty. Then Ellen Ripley comes back. We already talked about that. I shouldn't have written her twice if I remembered to talk about her. I normally forget things.
Yes.
Indiana Jones. big, huge 80s star.
Yes.
Obviously Harrison Ford, and you might be like, why isn't Han Solo on here? Because no Star Wars. Because personally, I believe that he uses the Force in those movies. We're just going to stay away from it.
Yeah, good idea.
Seems good to me. And they're very different. Star Wars was very different to all the more iconic, well, all the other iconic stuff. And it's not really action. So, or adventure. It's fantasy, sci-fi stuff.
Adventure.
Yeah. So yeah, Indiana Jones, obviously, he could have fit in the 70s, but it's like the rambunctious nature of the world, like the cool action that goes on, and like it's a traveling around the world and doing all this stuff. Bit of a throwback to like your 50s stuff, 50s and 60s, or maybe 40s and 50s, but very iconic, obviously. The closest on this list to a superhero.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, because he just does some stuff that, and there is the thing about like the Holy Grail that some people believe when he drank that, he got like a bit of a boost, but I'm not touching it. Alex Foley from Beverly Hills Cop. So this one's a little bit different. He's just a very funny guy. Obviously, he's played by Eddie Murphy, and the camera's gonna die. So we're gonna quickly finish up the 80s, and then we're gonna have to stop and make sure that gets plugged in. All right, Alex Foley, played by Eddie Murphy, very funny. His whole thing is that he's just this cool dude going through the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't seen that one either.
Well, that's like the whole thing with the 80s, is that it's like cool characters, cool world, everything's ramped up.
Yeah.
Whereas the 70s, everything was toned down. And more grim and real. And then John McClane comes in and he's a bit different. Alex Foley a little bit, but he was still like unstoppable. Whereas John McClane is like your everyman, and that sort of leads into the 90s with this change away from one man against the world, or one man the world needs to stop him, but he's just too unstoppable. And it's more just like your everyday guy. Some skills, he's good with guns, good with his fists, but he's just a normal dude.
Yeah.
So, and that will lead us into the 90s.